If you have a question, you can raise your hand, and I can unmute you, and you can ask your question. So sometimes we have questions, sometimes we don't, but they're very welcome. Just a very brief background. I started Staffingbook in 2010 and have been involved with building a number of successful internet-based businesses. I'm a newcomer to the staffing industry, but have been trying to surround myself with recruiters and employers and candidates, and have been on a very steep learning curve and enjoying it very much. Basically, the system has three types of users. We have employers, those of you on the line today, recruiters, and by recruiters we refer primarily to agency recruiters or independent third-party recruiters. Many of you who work for employers would consider yourself an in-house recruiter, and those fit under our category of employers. And of course, finally, candidates. Candidates are what make it all happen in the end, so we have to have candidates available in the system as well. And again, I'm going to show you just a few slides, and then we're going to primarily focus on a demonstration of the employer application in Staffingbook. So when to use Staffingbook, and I certainly understand that the name of the game as an employer is to minimize placement fees. In fact, in some cases, try never to pay a placement fee. There are, of course, hard to fill positions, hard to find skill sets. The in-house team can be overloaded. There can be a new requirement that has just emerged and it has to be filled overnight. Fire drill type job to fill. And so there are situations where it can be advisable or prudent to seek outside help from agency recruiters with specific expertise. They may have very strong candidates that are ready to be reviewed and looked at. So there's a time and a place for that. Some of the advantages of Staffingbook for an employer are we are free. You can broadcast your jobs at no cost on Staffingbook. You have a certain amount of control. You decide which recruiters you wish to broadcast to. Over time, you'll be building a network of preferred recruiter sources. I think one of the great values, if you will, of using the Staffingbook system is that you very rapidly find out which recruiters are on the mark and which ones maybe aren't on the mark with the candidates they submit to you. There's a single candidate that can be submitted per recruiter to each of your broadcasts. So you're not going to get hundreds of resumes or hundreds of profiles. You're going to get one from a recruiter, and they're going to be sending you their very best. And if you like what you saw but want to see something a little more, a little different, you can rebroadcast your requirement just to that one recruiter and say, hey, send me another one. Quality, as we move to the already well into the age of everybody being connected to everyone else, social media, the internet, all of this, you're no longer limited to working with a single recruiter or one or two recruiters. You don't want to limit yourself in that way. The candidates aren't all with certain agencies or certain recruiters. I mean, the best candidates could be found anywhere. And of course, the fees and rates on Staffingbook are negotiable because you actually control the offer that you wish to make, and the recruiters can either accept your offer or they can counter it. So, you could go in with a direct hire at a 15% of annual salary, and if you're not finding very much, maybe you consider increasing that to 20%. Similarly, for contract placements, billable hourly rates, you specify the range that you're prepared to pay for a candidate. Today we're going to cover these items: building your profile, creating a job order, broadcasting that order, a little bit about how you can review recruiter profiles and choose recruiters. We'll talk about privacy protection for candidate profiles. This is a very important issue for both the candidates and certainly for the agency recruiters. Staffingbook verified candidates. The majority of our candidates are verified by the recruiter. In other words, they have interviewed them, and they've completed certain information in terms of their assessment of that candidate. We have a letter of understanding that protects both parties, and you can upload and print out this letter of understanding and the agreements that are uploaded. And I also want to briefly talk about a special offer we currently are making to employers. So let's move to the demonstration. And I'm going to log into our demonstration system as an employer. So imagine you are employer number 1. And when you log in, you arrive at a home page, basically a familiar home page that kind of a Facebook, LinkedIn derivative, if you will, has some common look and feel, all your messages, all your activity, who sent you the information, the date. You can click on View More if you want to refresh your memory of what that specific item was all about. So again, a friendly user interface, easy to navigate, all of your activity contained in this one account. Now let's say that you are a brand new employer and you just want to set up your account, so you go to Settings, and you need to actually indicate that your account is active. If you select inactive, then you will not be receiving any messages, no recruiters can find you, you will essentially be off the air. So you want to be active if you're in the system. You can edit your profile. We maintain a profile for every employer in the system. You can actually use your LinkedIn account if you want to pre-populate some of your information and do it more rapidly. This is an employer's name is Jill Employer. She works for ABC Resources and she's a senior recruiter. And here's her contact information. I want to point you over here on the left to View Public Profile. The public profile is a restricted version of this profile you're looking at right now, because we want to protect you as the employer. We don't want to give out your contact information prematurely. So let's look at the public profile for Jill Employer. What we'll find is that there's the name of her company and the title and the location, but we don't have a phone number, we don't have an email address. So when inquiries are made, unless you indicate an interest in a specific candidate, this is the only information that the recruiter is going to have. So obviously there are ways to still find you, but we've attempted to protect your privacy and not have you be the recipient of unwanted messages. You can also, as part of editing your profile, so you select Edit here, and it allows you to modify any of your information. And again, anytime you change any information, maybe the office moved from 543 Main Street to 547 Main Street, make any changes to your profile, you're going to want to go down here and save that information so that your edits are retained. You can also upload a company image or logo. Some recruiters actually have the company logo, some actually have their personal photo. In most cases, I think employers are going to have their company logo. We also have this activity up here called Jobs. Let's look at that for a moment. So in this case, this particular in-house recruiter, Jill, has got 14 specific job orders in the system. Here's the first 10, and if we click over here, we'll see 4 more. So there's 14 jobs in this system. And some of them are for direct hire positions, and some of them are for contract. And again, it's a similar method, but we want to be clear on whether it's a direct hire opening or a contract position. Candidates that have been considered or are currently shortlisted for these specific jobs are noted here. We have the ability to look at particular activity for any job order. What's the status of the order? What messages have occurred? Let's look at the candidates that are being considered. Perhaps we want to rebroadcast this job order. It was last broadcast in this case today, May 1. We could broadcast it again now if we wanted to. But let's actually create a new job order. Imagine you're new to the system and you're just getting started, so you select Broadcast Job. And it's not an existing job, but it's a new job. And let's just say, for example, it's a Systems Administrator. And it's a direct hire position. And you are in the airline aviation industry. And the position is located in Boston. And let's just say we need a experienced sysadmin with a Sun, Solaris, Unix background. Again, you have a much more detailed description than I'm just typing in right now. And you can upload, cut and paste, and it's very simple. So let's save this, and let's also let's broadcast it. We want to get some candidates for this position. So we're saving and broadcasting, and it's going to ask us now for the parameters of our offer. Are we going to offer a flat fee or a fee as a percentage of salary? Let's say we're offering 20% of annual salary, and there is a letter of understanding here, which I'll open up for you quickly. Basically just says that these candidates are represented by recruiters, and that should you end up hiring this candidate or placing them in a position, you will be due to pay a fee. And that information will be populated here at the bottom once the terms are agreed to. At this moment, there's no agreement between the parties. So let's say you agree to the letter of understanding. You can broadcast to all recruiters. You could forward to a specific recruiter. Maybe you have a favorite recruiter in mind for this job order, or you can broadcast to selected recruiters. Let's consider broadcasting to selected recruiters. And let's say it's we're not interested in recruiters that are involved in finance and accounting, but technology, because this is a technology-based position. And let's select Find to see what we can find. So it shows us that there are 10 recruiters that potentially would have a candidate that could be considered for this, or 10 recruiters that advertise themselves as being technology-based recruiters. Again, you have the opportunity to submit, specify specific zip codes for recruiters. You can request a recruiter by name. You can request the firm by name. Let's select a few of these. I don't want to send it to all 10 because I'm just starting out here. Let's select this one, recruiter 2, and how about Harriet? And let's see if these 3 recruiters, let's go ahead and broadcast to them. And it tells me the broadcast has been completed. So now basically it's up to the recruiter. So let's quickly log out and log in as a recruiter who's receiving this, just so you can see how the other side of this works. So if we log in as recruiter 1, which was Susie Recruiter, and if we look at Susie's homepage, again, very comparable profile to what the employer, what you have. This is the recruiter side, the agency recruiter, third-party recruiter. She has a requirement that came in just moments ago, and it came in from ABC Resources. That's you. For a systems administrator with a Sun Solaris Unix background, this is a direct hire position. They're offering 20% of salary. There were no additional terms noted. I am being offered the opportunity to submit a candidate. So here are my candidates that have technology backgrounds. And I just happen to know that, that Joni here would be a good fit. So let me assign Joni. It says my candidate was assigned successfully. And now it's also going to ask me if I am agreeing to the terms. Do I agree to the letter of understanding? I'm actually very familiar with that at this point because I've submitted quite a number of candidates. And the fee of 20% is acceptable to me. And so I'm going to accept. I could counter, but then you enter another cycle and you may or may not hear back from that employer with their acceptance So I'm going to accept this letter of understanding. It reminds me that upon accepting this letter of understanding, my candidates' additional details will be released. Do I still wish to proceed? And I do, because I'm fully protected at this point. We've got an understanding in place. If I were to open up this letter of understanding at this point, I would actually should see those terms populated. So here's the, oops, sorry about that. Let's look at that again. So here we are. This is much too big for my screen. Let's do that one more time. We'll get it. Okay. So here's the letter of understanding, and it's between ABC Resources and Suzy Recruiter. So you as the employer and Suzy Recruiter. It actually shows me the terms down here that we have a letter of understanding dated May 1, 2012. The name of the candidate is Joni Johnson. The fee as a percentage of salary is 20%. And we have a unique broadcast number right here which references all three of these parties, the candidate, the recruiter, and the employer, all tied together with this unique ID number. So we've got an audit trail here of a representation of a candidate and a fee that's been agreed upon by the employer and the recruiter. So one other thing to show you just briefly, if we go back to jobs, and I've been looking to see if there's any questions, and no one appears to have raised their hand. If you do have a question, you can raise your hand. I'll unmute you, and we'll do my best to see if you do that. If we go to jobs very briefly, I just showed you how to create a new job. Actually, we want to log out and go back in as the employer. So back as employer 1, where we started at the beginning, back to the home page, going to jobs. So here's the now 15 jobs. We had 14 before. Now, of course, we have 15 because we created job number 15, which is actually going to show as job number 1, our systems administrator. It's in order of most recently created. If we go to a previous job, the senior cost accountant position, just to show you how you can manage your existing job orders, we could view that job order. And there, by the way, is one candidate shortlisted for this position at the present. So here's a bit of the audit trail of activity. There's one candidate shortlisted. This is a contract position for a senior cost accountant, a 9-month assignment as part of a larger audit team. If I select shortlist, I'm going to see more information on that candidate. So the candidate is Jane Yamato, and she's sponsored by Recruiter 2. I can view Recruiter 2's profile. I have the resume here. By clicking there, I have the profile of Jane. Let me open up her profile. Again, what you're going to see now is a fully open profile because there's been an agreement on terms. There's been an agreement that the candidate's represented by Recruiter 2. And so you have the candidate, photo, bit of information. You still don't have cell number and phone number for candidates. We try to protect their privacy as well. Skill sets, information such as citizenship, education, current company. Portions of this information are protected prior to there being an agreement between all the parties. So right now you're seeing the fully open profile, including the work culture questions. We ask a number of questions regarding the candidate's preferred work environment. Do they like to lead a team or rather be on a team? Things like dress code, structure, and process. Just get a bit more of a handle on those types of things. I think we have covered the essence of what I wanted to show you there. Very briefly, just to show you, because it's important for you to understand what it looks like from the side of a recruiter. If we pick a recruiter, an agency recruiter, again, as we've shown you, they have a similar profile. They have a very similar home page. You know, what's different about the recruiter side for you employers is that they have a candidates button. And essentially their candidates button is their inventory of candidates. You know, this particular recruiter has 3 candidates, and this is actually an enterprise account. There are multiple recruiters on this account, so if I select other candidates, I'm going to find that there's another recruiter with a candidate. So a lot of staffing firm offices have multiple recruiters. So the recruiter for any one of their candidates, let's go to Jane Yamato, the candidate we were looking at previously, has the ability to edit their profile, forward it. They could forward Jane's profile directly to you. They could have just learned about her, know about your requirements, you know, type in your email address here and send you a message saying, hey, check out this candidate. Back to Jane for a moment. We can view inquiries regarding her, messages. There's what we call the assessment. This is an important aspect of Staffingbook, that recruiters are assessing their candidates. So if we look at Jane's assessment by Recruiter 2, we see that there is this verified seal which appears on Jane's profile, means that she has been reviewed and assessed. This was done on March 6th. The recruiter interviewed Jane in person, or I'm sorry, by phone. They have checked 1 reference, and they have rated the soft skills exceptional or more than adequate. And basically the recruiters also checked the box here that they have reviewed this candidate's detailed profile and believe the information included is accurate and does not misrepresent the candidate or their capabilities. And in some cases, if you have particular contractor requirements, information such as legal right to work in the U.S., zip code, current pay stub, that information may have been reviewed as well. So it depends upon the type of candidate that we're looking at. Information on how long they've known the candidate, and any comments they wish to add. So again, a lot of information there that the recruiter has that they're trying to carefully protect and distribute in the right fashion to you as the employer. So let me log out of the application here and go back to the PowerPoint slides, and we'll just kind of wrap things up here in a few minutes. And again, still looking to see if there are any questions. I'm not seeing any. We do have a special offer at present for employers where we will broadcast your jobs, again, at no charge, but more than that, we will actually assist you in the process. For almost all of you, this would be a new service to use, and we want to make it a pleasant experience for you. So if you wish to post a job with us, we will open your account for you, create your profile, broadcast the position per your instructions, and then you'll be notified by email as recruiters submit their best candidates. So, and again, you're under no obligation to continue using the system. Should you actually accept the submittal of a candidate, whatever fee you had proposed to pay, you would be obliged to pay that should you hire that candidate. So again, this is for requirements where you're already putting it out to agency recruiters. So keep that in mind. And obviously, we want to assist you in deriving the most value possible out of the system. So we're here to do that. And just by way of summary, and I think we have covered each of these items. We showed you how to build a profile, how to create a job order. We certainly broadcast a job order. We did look at some recruiter profiles, not in too much detail, but if you recall, when your broadcast Find Recruiters button came up, there was a menu of recruiters that was displayed, 10 of them. And for each one of them, there was a button right there saying View Profile. So you could, one by one, look at those recruiter profiles and decide if you want to include them in your broadcast or not. So you can certainly do that. We talked about the privacy protection for candidate profiles, Certainly talked about verifying the candidates by the recruiter, showed you the letter of understanding. Didn't talk too much about, you can print out that letter of understanding with the final terms. It's certainly retained in the system. You don't have to worry about it going away. It's going to be right there associated with that particular unique inquiry. We covered our offer for employers, again, trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get involved and test out Staffingbook. And I think at this point, if there are any questions, this would be a good time to ask them. And I understand that sometimes people are working busily on other things while they're attending a webinar, so I don't see it at the moment. So we'll just wrap up with, let us help you with your job as best we can. The service is free to employers. It offers you a lot of control, both over the fees as well as over which recruiters to work with. It's a terrific way, we believe, to develop a network of trusted recruiters who you can count on to deliver efficiency and high-value candidates to you swiftly. And you're certainly not limited to working with one or two recruiters. It's a system that really plugs you into a recruiter marketplace, and I would think about it in that regard. And we're totally committed to your success. Unless employers are having a satisfactory experience on the system, Staffingbook's not going to be able to grow and continue to deliver value. So, in closing, there's my contact information, and Joanne Schumacher, our VP of Subscriber Services, is always available to talk to employers and to assist you in any way that she can. So I think we've gone for just about 30 minutes, and I want to thank you very much for attending, all of you, and we hope to see you on Staffingbook. Thanks very much. Goodbye.